What's happening? Welcome to the 24th floor. No, ABC 24 did not replace me. I took a much-needed break, but I may never take a vacation again because I done missed so much. We're going to get into some of that with my guy Anthony Sain. We'll get into the NBA Finals Game 6 preview from our sister station in Indy and hear from Chris Beard on what Ole Miss could look like next year. I'm back, baby, and the 24th floor starts now. So as I mentioned, I took a little vacation, went to Costa Rica. It was beautiful. I was gone literally a week and missed more news in a week than we had probably had in a month or two. There I am on the side, rappelling down a waterfall, having the time of my life in Costa Rica at the beach, riding horses, hanging out with monkeys, all that cool stuff. And I missed Zach Edey's ankle surgery, a speeding ticket from Edey, Desmond Bane getting traded out of the blue, Stephen A. Smith versus the entire city of Memphis. He crapped on Memphis and got the whole city cracking on him, including John Morant and Desmond Bane. And then Memphis AD Dr. Ed Scott announced that they've raised over $200 million for stadium renovations to Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. So safe to say I won't be taking another vacation because I clearly am the jinx of this whole thing. You know who was here through all of this and has plenty of thoughts? My guy Anthony Sain, host of the Anthony Sain Show, tribal chief of Grizzlies Twitter, all-around internet villain. Sain, what's happening, brother? What you think of the last week or so?
No, man, don't put that villain on me, man. I can't let you do me like that, bro. I can't let you do that. No, don't do that to me. But no, I was down for the trade, man. I was not in Costa Rica like you, but I was definitely occupied, man. Father's Day, I was out with my girl, the kids, just out doing our thing, man, and our family breakfast just did not go the way it was supposed to go. It was definitely interrupted by the Desmond Bane trade. Did not eat a lick of my food to like an hour into us being there, probably.
Stomach was knots.
Yeah, man. It was. I'm definitely a fan of the trade, though, man. I think the Grizzlies came out, and I think this is going to shape up to be one of the best Grizzlies trades, you know, in franchise history. Like, being honest, you acquired a lot of assets from the Orlando Magic team, including two guys that are valuable players who can play. You didn't just get two, you didn't do a math equation. You got two guys that can play back for Desmond Bane, namely Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a guy who's been a long-time NBA vet, a guy who developed his three-point shot throughout his career, became one of the better three-point shooters in the league, a guy who can defend multiple positions on the court, two-time NBA world champion, had a strange fit in Orlando, got up to a really bad start shooting the ball when they acquired him at the beginning of last year. But as the season went on, his numbers got back up to where you'd expect those to be. Finishing the season, averaging, around 40% from three, getting towards the end of the season. So I think that's a great pickup. Cole Anthony, a guy who may not particularly need him on this roster. I could see a scenario where you keep him and a scenario where you send him out. But like you turn that Desmond Bane contract into two very small, two more usable contracts, easier to trade contracts in KCP and Cole Anthony. So you went from having not really many contracts that were movable to now you picked up two more, and two guys, whether you want to keep those guys or use those for something else. With that, just boatload of picks that you picked up from Orlando. Basically had in possession of 5 first-round picks from Orlando, including 4 unprotected picks coming your way, plus the option to do a pick swap with them in 2030. I just think the Grizzlies really came out well in that trade.
All right, so you make all perfectly good points. I think what's kind of scary is what the Orlando Magic could look like with Desmond Bane. Bane was actually already in Florida when he got traded, and he already had a chance to just slip on over there. So here's what he had to say about the new expectations that the Magic have with him on board.
It's time to win. It's pretty much simple as that. If we do what we're supposed to do, those, not to say the picks were invaluable, but they would have fell in a place that, we had, like I said, we got a lot of young talent here already in the building, and we have a lot of talent at the top of the roster. So I think it's a perfect time, for the organization to do what they did.
Saying you were actually spot on earlier in the week or last week before Bane got traded. At this time, I really like to let you have your moment for a victory lap because you kind of talked about what it meant for the Grizzlies on their side of the equation. Do you like what it means for Orlando as well?
Yeah, I don't really want to take a victory lap on it. I'm not excited that he's gone. I'm not happy
Yeah,
that he's
fair
gone.
enough.
Not wishing he was gone. I did, had some intel and then kind of look at just kind of basic common sense. If the Grizzlies were, when Zach Kleiman came out and said that we need to make changes, we're going to have to toughen up. We're going to have to add guys. There's only so many guys that we had that were actual tradable contracts. You had Brandon Clark, who's injured right now, and that's pretty much it as far as guys that you can move on this roster. So I looked at Dez as being a guy that would probably get moved. I looked at the kind of the climate of the NBA today, where teams are kind of moving away from. First, you had the super team era, then you had the big threes, and then the big threes are now becoming the big twos, man, where teams have two guys that are high level players, high level star level players, and your goal is to just get high level role players around those guys. And I think Dez, especially at the salary amount that he was at, still being limited the way that he was for this particular fit, I think he kind of stood out like a sore thumb as far as being the guy that the Grizzlies would need to move on from. So, like I said, I'm not in the victory lap mode about that. I just kind of use common sense to kind of remove my fan emotions from the whole equation. But I did pretty much see it coming. Like in today's NBA, man, if you're a team like the Grizzlies where you're playing a true power forward like Jaren Jackson Jr., who's not a wing, right? And if he's your 4 and John Morant's not a good defender, and that means that you only have, and if Desmond Bane is your shooting guard, that means you only have one spot in your lineup for a guy that can be a elite level defender or a high tier defender. And that right now was Jalen Wells. He was the only guy that could fit in your rotation that could guard on the perimeter. Right? Jaren's not a perimeter defender. Ja definitely isn't. And if Bane isn't either, you're only allowing max one guy to be out there that can do those type of things, right? But with every team that you see that's still playing basketball and just throughout the playoffs, they've got 2 guys on the perimeter that can do those things. And I think that's always going to be a liability as long as you had a Ja Morant, Desmond Bane backcourt. And I think that moving off of Dez allows you now to have 2 guys in your starting lineup who can be high-level defenders. Now, who those guys are, who they'll be come, October, November when the season starts, I think that's still up in the air. I think there's still a lot of fluidity, a lot of work in progress to be determined type stuff with this Grizzlies organization and Zach Kleiman and what he's going to do this offseason. But making that Desmond Bane trade definitely freed you up to do more things.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you look at the trend of the league, the big 3 is becoming certainly a thing of the past. And when you, I think, look at the core of just what Dez, Ja, and Jaren had done up until this point, it was kind of proven that, all right, it seems like we might have hit a ceiling, might have hit a cap, and we're going to have to make some major moves. And with Desmond controlling, $40 million plus year after year, you're trying to extend a Jaren Jackson Jr. and keep him in the fold. And then, of course, you're not letting go of Ja, and Ja made it very clear he's not trying to go anywhere himself. 1 + 1 = 2, and unfortunately, 1 + 1 = 22, meaning Desmond Bane is gone. He's going to wear 3 in Orlando, which I thought was kind of weird, but at the same time, kind of fit. I don't know.
They call him 3 Rex down there, which is absolutely crazy. Like, I'm really upset. 3 Rex. I'm really upset that I never thought of that while he was here. With the short arms, they call him 3 Rex. I really hate that I never thought about it. I could have sold a lot of T-shirts with 3 Rex on them, man. But
That's good. That's good. The Grizzlies trade one of their stars. Immediately, everybody's also thinking rebuild. And I think it's not just a Grizzlies thing. I think this is really with any team in the league. Why do you think rebuild is like the immediate thought whenever we do this?
Well, it's not the default for every team in the league, because if we had looked up Father's Day morning and saw the Los Angeles Lakers had traded
LeBron?
Trying to think. No,
Luka.
Reeves. They had traded Reeves, right?
Reeves.
Like, they had traded Austin Reeves, who's like their 3rd best player. If you looked up, you saw that the Lakers had traded Austin Reeves to Orlando and got 5 first-round picks back, right? And just maybe 2, role players back and 5 picks. Everyone would have been talking about, oh, man, the Lakers are really in the position to make a splash for the rest of the offseason. They put themselves in a position to build around Luka and LeBron. Like, they sacrifice him to go do what they need to do to get more guys. Yeah. That would have been the narrative everywhere.
Conversation. Yeah.
Last summer when Minnesota traded their 2nd best player, All-NBA player, Karl Anthony Towns, out for Julius Randle, who had a ton of warts, and Dante DiVincenzo, nobody was saying the Minnesota Timberwolves were getting ready to blow their team up. Like, nobody was saying that, right?
Yeah.
But it's just an odd energy about the Grizzlies, man. And we've seen that this week with the Stephen A. Smith news as well. It's just an odd energy when it comes down to how people perceive what we're doing. So much of national media is lazy, man. They cover 4 or 5 teams, 4 or 5 markets, 4 or 5 players, and they just really don't invest in all the teams throughout the league. And it just the way the NBA is covered now, people talk about the NBA game changing. It's not that as much as how horribly the people who are paying the NBA to market their product are not marketing their product well at all. Case in point, how horribly the NBA finals have been covered, not just from a media standpoint, but from a presentation standpoint by the major networks as well. It's just really disappointing as someone who's a lifetime hoops head, a lifetime NBA and basketball fan, how poorly the NBA is being marketed and presented to its fans.
Yeah, I think you make incredible points on all notes. There's actually an article that came out that kind of says how the NBA and how they're covering and keeping up with the finals are almost taking notes from NBA Twitter, which I think is kind of an interesting note. We're going to get into some more of this on the other side of the break.
Yeah.
Take a short break, but when we come back, Stephen A. Smith had more to say about Memphis, somehow, remarkably. Desmond Bane actually defends the 901, so a little bit more fuel to the fire. We'll talk about it after the break.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app, streaming 24/7 local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
It's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back to the 24th floor. There's been a lot of back and forth between Stephen A. Smith, First Take, ESPN, and the city of Memphis this week after he said NBA players don't want to play in Memphis on Tuesday, and then doubled down with like a half double down, half apology. Desmond Bane, newly minted Orlando Magic, who we just talked about the trade, was on the Young Man and the Three podcast, and he fired back.
I think all that is just false. You know, I think once you get to Memphis and you learn Memphis and you know Memphis, like, there's a lot of love in that city. Yeah, it's got its rough parts, but that's how every city is. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody grew up with everything under the sun. I think that Memphis is a beautiful place. They got a great organization. Anybody that goes there will be happy with what they got going on for sure.
There were a lot of former athletes defending the 901 and people who weren't athletes as well, including Will Barton, Will the Thrill, a former Memphis Tiger himself. He said only lames feel unsafe in Memphis, one of the greatest cities to live in, especially if you're an athlete. Memphis embraces you like no other and protects you, but you got to be a real one to understand it. Only goofies don't rock with the M. Back with my guy, Anthony Sain, host of the Anthony Sain Show. I would say you're a real one, Sain. I mean, what do you think about how some of these guys who have played in Memphis, what do you think have had to say about the city of Memphis?
Yeah, man, it's typical. Guys who come through here love Memphis. You could just think about not just your NBA players, like you said, your guys like Will Barton who played here in college. Will doesn't live here, but he's here all the time. You got guys who came here to play for the University of Memphis and never went back to wherever they're from, who came from awesome cities already, and they never went back to where they came from. Memphis is a city that embraces you, man, a city that's got character, a city that's got soul, a city that's got a lot of passion, a lot of culture, a lot of history here in the city of Memphis, man. It's an awesome city. It's where I live. It's where I raise my children as well. So, that's something I talked about passionately on my show the other day, Anthony Sain Show, you can see on YouTube. we talked about the whole thing, and I'm like, man, if people, especially people in the city who are co-signing this crap that Stephen A. Smith is saying, if he's so right, and if you think that NBA players should be concerned about their safety when they live here, why do you live here? Like, why are you here with your children and you're not a millionaire? Like, that's why I just call crap on so much stuff that people say. Sometimes people just love to co-sign with a lot of negativity and just toxic behavior and toxic thinking. So a lot of times people are just gonna anything that's gonna just dogpile on the place where you live, sleep, and eat. A lot of times people just have a mentality where they like to do those type of things. But I think it's a ridiculous statement, thing to say, especially to come back and reiterate again. I did see his half apology about whatever, and I get some elements of what he's saying. There are things in Memphis that need to be corrected. I mean, that's any city that's got crime. But to act like that the crime issue in Memphis is an exclusive issue with Memphis as far as being a team in the NBA. That's a bunch of nonsense, especially when you're crediting Jimmy Butler, a guy who we talked about the real reason why Jimmy Butler didn't come to Memphis. It was clear as day when he said it.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with crime. And for him of all people to say that, who plays in a city where Ricky Pearsall, a San Francisco 49er rookie, was robbed and shot in the chest in San Francisco, the city where Jimmy Butler plays, the city he chose to go to, the city that was supposedly safer than Memphis. He went to that city knowing that within that calendar year that an NFL player was robbed and shot in the chest in San Francisco. So it's just a bunch of nonsense, man. And it's all part of a bigger narrative that these guys are trying to push against the city of Memphis. For one, I had my guy Chris Dotson on the show the other day, and he was talking about how you have to keep in mind that guys like Stephen A. Smith, they don't see Memphis, they don't see John Morant much at all because he's going where he's covering a game, and if the Grizzlies are on national television, 4 or 5 times a year, and 3 of those games are a road game against the Lakers. He's not really getting that connection to Ja or to the city. So, of course, he wants Ja to get out of that market so he can have more access to a player like Ja. And also, there's a narrative to get the Grizzlies out of Memphis altogether, man. It's been that way for a long time. Stephen A. Smith came on that same airway and was talking about how, the NBA needs to get the league needs to get Memphis out of the NBA out of Memphis, all those type of things. So these are all just weird narratives he's been trying to push forever. So, of course, you respond to him. I really wish that we wouldn't respond to him as much, including myself. Respond to him as much, but that's what he does, man. He's in the business of creating things to unpopular things, or just the thing is, when you say unpopular actually means popular. So
yeah, unpopular means popular in this case, 100%.
Right. He's creating these things that are going to be buzzworthy and are going to have people talking all over the country. And he's a master at that. He's mastered that, and he has a craft of creating these topics that go viral like this, to keep people talking about them for days on end. He can come back and stir the pot again and bring those stories back to life. So he's a master at that, and I don't knock him for that. But I understand that what he's doing is a magic show. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of nonsense. And with that being said, it's just we have to choose to respond to those type of things and just pretty much recognize that he's got a narrative he's trying to push, and we just have to be bigger and better than to get wound up in those type of things that he does.
I think the beauty of a lot of this too was just watching how the city of Memphis kind of rose up as a collective and just got to cracking on him, bro. I mean, there were some very well articulated arguments for why he was wrong, and then there was also arguments of guys just like on the street just saying Stephen A. Smith looked like Kermit the Frog and everything else, because that's what Memphis does, right?
Memphis, it's the beauty of Memphis.
We can do it to you on either side of the equation. People who've born and raised and grown up in this city, and at the same time, people like a Jessica Benson, who are in the media and who live here and love it here, and don't necessarily see themselves going anywhere else in the super near future. So it's crazy to me how somebody from on that platform can use it in such a way that it's very clear that you're trying to push a thing a certain way.
Right.
Because as long as John Morant is in Memphis, I think the Grizzlies probably keep, But as soon as he's out of here, then you open up that Pandora's box of, okay, well, the Grizzlies could end up somewhere else. You got people trying to push them to the east over to Nashville. You got people trying to take them, maybe send them over to Las Vegas or Seattle or wherever else the expansion is going to be. And it's really kind of a sad thing because so many people love it here and have been here for so long. I think, to your point, Anthony Sain. It looks like we just lost him, so I'll keep it on me for a second until we get Sain back as the Zoom meeting ended. But the point that Anthony Sain was bringing up was so many of these players who have left this city and come back choose to stay here. Tony Allen, who just got his jersey put in the Hall of Fame here in FedEx Forum this past season, is from Chicago, one of the best basketball cities in the entire country. He chooses to stay and live here in Memphis. He's been on the show and talked about why he's such a fan of Memphis and why he identifies with being from here. Derrick Rose, who spent a year in Memphis, both as a college basketball player and then an NBA player with the Grizzlies, still lives in this city. And his son, PJ, goes to school here at Los Angeles. So it's clear that players who come here love it here, want to stay here. Zebo is still here. Marc Gasol doesn't still live here, but spent his childhood here and tends to come back and has very fond memories of the place. And so to say that athletes don't want to be in this city and don't, appreciate or like it here, or they're too worried about crime, when you've got a John Morant who literally tweets, "I'm going to be in that 901," and the source is him. I think it just says so much about the pride that so many athletes have in living in this city, and not just athletes, but really everybody who lives here, from the athletes to Mayor Young to media people like myself to just regular everyday folks. I think the city of Memphis is beloved by everybody who steps in here and spends more than 5 minutes on an airplane ride, i.e. Stephen A. Smith, who I don't even know how serious you can take him, because the man is at the NBA Finals and playing solitaire. Anthony Sain, who's back. Thank you very much.
Right. And he also created a whole college basketball career that never happened. So, I mean, come on, man. Why do we take anything? Right? Yeah. And then they came out and said he was lying about that. That probably wasn't true either. But anyway, man, something else I'll stand on to what you're saying. And I'm not saying this to knock you, but being someone that's born and raised in Memphis, I'm going to have a different passion for this city than anybody. Like, nobody who ain't from here ain't going to have more passion than me. But like people try to tie a lot into John Morant, right? Like I heard you say something like, if Ja's gone, then it's a different conversation. That's BS too, bro. Like, that's just not what's going on, bro. Like, there's been no indication from Adam Silver, nothing he's ever said, no action he's ever made, that he plans on uprooting a team from one city and moving to another city. Everything he's talked about has been on the expansion type tip, as far as adding more teams to the league. Right. He's not said or suggested anything that he ever plans on uprooting a city, uprooting a team from a city and moving them somewhere else. Because he saw the effects of that from under the David Stern regime. He saw how ugly those type of things got, moving, to Seattle out and just relocating, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then you had the New Orleans. You had the New Orleans Hornets, and all these different things were happening that were just uprooting these teams around. I don't think he wants any part of that. I think he wants to hold what he has and extend from here.
And as long as you got the commissioner of the league on your side, I think you're probably in a pretty good spot as far as keeping your NBA franchise in the city. And I think Anthony Sain, you make a great point as always, and that's why we bring you on the show. But we got to let you go, brother. I really appreciate you coming on.
Oh man, appreciate
Anthony
you, brother.
Sain. Make sure you check him out on the Anthony Sain Show. You can watch it on YouTube. How often do you come on, Sain? Once a week?
Man,
twice a week?
every day, Monday through Friday now. Monday through Friday, starting at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. I'm about to go live at 2, man. So, every day, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., Anthony Sain Show on YouTube. You need to search Anthony Sain Show, or you can search Bluff City Media. You'll be able to find it. And check out all the other different shows we got on our network. Pretty much all day long, we got something that's available for you guys to check out on Bluff City Media. Check it out today at 2 p.m., Anthony Sain Show. We've been talking about the Stephen A. Smith stuff forever. Now, today's show, we're going to talk about some of the solutions. How do we, as Memphians, respond to the call of action, pretty much, that Stephen A. Smith has put on us? Do we accept it as a challenge, or are we just going to stay mad for the rest of the week? So, that's what I'm talking about today on the Anthony Sain Show.
Cool, man. Sain, appreciate you, brother. Good luck on your show today, and I'll make sure I'm tapped in at 2 o'clock. Learn something.
All right, brother.
Let's get into some college hoops. Ole Miss basketball had a great season last year. Chris Beard's team won 24 games, made it to the Sweet 16 before falling to Michigan State. Rebels are gearing up for an even better 25-26 season, and Coach Beard hung out with our guy Stephen Willis on our Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
We're just trying to get a little bit better every day. We're trying to form relationships I think in terms of returning players, it's easy for people on the outside to look and say, man, those guys have 7 or 8 players back. That would be an advantage. I don't really ever see that as quantity. To me, it's not really about the number you get back. It's about the quality that you get back. And so for us to have Dia and Klafke back that were in the rotation, and for us to have Zach and Max back, 2 guys we really believe in and their commitment to the program on a daily basis, that group, those 4 guys, those are the guys that we wanted back.
You can check out more of this interview, all things Ole Miss, on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast every weekday on YouTube and the 24 Plus app, hosted by my guy, Stephen Willis. Go check that out. Coming up, Zach Edey sprained his ankle, but apparently it doesn't stop him from putting the pedal to the metal. We'll talk about it coming up next.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24 Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24 Plus. The 24 Plus TV app. Streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24 Plus. Complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. Those storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
How big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24 Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24 Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Welcome back to the 24th floor. Last week, Zach Edey had surgery on a severely sprained ankle, but before then, he was apparently feeling pretty fast and pretty furious. In May, Edey was charged for reckless driving after an Indiana State trooper clocked him going 101 miles an hour in a 55-mile-per-hour zone in a Kia Sorento, of all cars. Edey's reason for the high speed: he said he was trying to pass another vehicle on the road. He was given a misdemeanor charge of reckless driving and will have an initial hearing on June 23rd in Indiana. Well, the bracket is set for the Baja Mar Hoops Championship. Memphis will officially play Purdue in the first round of the 4-team tournament. Purdue, a preseason top 5 team in the country. They made it to the Sweet 16 last year before losing to Houston. The 2 teams will play November 20th in Nassau, Bahamas. Winner gets the winner of Texas Tech and Wake Forest on the other side of the bracket. Memphis women's soccer released their non-conference schedule for the fall. The slate includes Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Mizzou, Iowa State, and Tennessee. Memphis is a staple in the NCAA tournament, but just missed last year's slate after falling to ECU in extra time of the AAC Tournament Championship. Looking forward to that. Well, tonight could be the final night of the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City up 3-2 on Indiana with a chance to close it out on the road. The Pacers are desperate with a gimpy Tyrese Halliburton. Our sister station at WTHR in Indianapolis gets us ready for a crucial Game 6.
Welcome into Gamebridge Fieldhouse, the site and location for a pivotal, obviously season-determining Game 6 for the Indiana Pacers after falling behind 3-2 in this series and losing back-to-back games for the first time in over 3 months on Monday night against OKC.
Yeah, it's a situation the Pacers haven't been in this postseason. Right. They certainly were last postseason, and they found a way to get it done against the Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. But this is a different situation entirely. And obviously, the big focus is on Tyrese Halliburton's health. Rick Carlisle telling us that he went through a walkthrough on Wednesday. Tyrese confirming to us that he does, in fact, have a calf strain. They have a plan if he does play, if he doesn't play. But obviously, that's what everyone's looking at, Rick Carlisle and Tyrese Halliburton, on his status ahead of Game 6.
We'll see where we are tomorrow. It's a topic that people want to hear about and know about, and there's going to be a lot of questions about it. but we will not really know for sure until late tomorrow afternoon or early evening.
I think I have to be as smart as I want to be. I have to understand the risks, ask the right questions. But I'm a competitor. I want to play. I'm gonna do everything in my power to play, and that's just what it is. But I mean, I think the answer to that is dependent on who you ask.
So with or without Halliburton, the game must go on. Of course, we mentioned the Pacers' backs against the wall, season on the line, and they're going to have a little more fuel playing in front of you on Thursday night.
I think anytime in the playoffs, anytime you can play in front of your home crowd, it's huge. But especially when your back's up against the wall in an elimination game, this crowd can really will us to wins, and they have done so. And we need their very best tomorrow.
Great moment to be a part of, and no matter what, like you said, it's going to be the last game at home. But I want to make sure that we win the game tomorrow and then we make history happen. Game 7.
The Pacers have a chance to force one of those on Thursday night here in Game 6. Where else would you rather be? At home, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Everybody's tired. Not everyone's 100%, but it's a huge opportunity before the Pacers to get it done, and we'll see if they can. The odds are against them.
Yeah, it's a test of will at this point. So here we are. Tip-off scheduled for 8:30. We're going to have all the coverage for you right here on 13 Sports as well as on WTHR+. But for now, in Gainbridge Fieldhouse alongside Don Miranda, I'm Eli Gain. Have a good day.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with ABC 24 and 24+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on 24+. The 24+ TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time.
Rain showers through the day today, and we're starting.
Track how the weather will impact your day.
Rain coming in tonight into tomorrow.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene. Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 24+. Complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more.
Here comes our first batch of rain.
Some severe thunderstorms and even several tornado warnings.
I think the bigger issue is going to be the wind gusts. So you start getting some branches knocked around. You could definitely see some power outages today. The storms could pack a punch.
It's not just the thunderstorms, it's the fact that this low pressure is so strong.
It's how big that storm system was.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on 24+. Download on your TV and watch for free. When news breaks, watch 24+. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene, faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 24+. Download free on your TV now.
It's the best thing I saw this week, besides the beautiful beaches and jungles of Costa Rica. LSU completes a comeback for the ages. They come back from down 5-3 in the ninth, walk it off in Omaha over Arkansas. Arkansas, heartbroken, quite honestly, they might be cursed. LSU advances to College World Series against Coastal Carolina. That game begins, or that series rather, begins on Saturday. That is the show for today. Thanks to Anthony Sain for joining the program. Thanks to Cindy Jones, Richard Denson for making this go behind the scenes. We're back on Monday, but until then, I will see you later.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24+ app everywhere you stream.